Oh my god, you can't see anything. Oh, that is way too bright. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think I look like decently normal now. Not like a ghoul. Yeah, I think we're good. Hello everyone. It's nighttime right now, and I don't really have any good lights in my room to film, so I'm using like a makeshift lamp set up here. Like I have a lamp behind my laptop to be able to put light on my feet. It looks so stupid. I look like a mess today. You look a mess.
You look a mess.
I'm getting distracted. I look a mess today. I've literally been rotting in my room all day doing homework, and then I was like, you know what? I finished everything. I have some time to film this video, so I might as well do it. I've been excited for this one. I've been looking forward to this one because this is like one of my all-time favorite animals. Like, I have a fixation with these animals. Like, I love them. I really do. I have like a fondness. I have a fondness for them. Today we're gonna be talking about you can't even see. Okay, well that was very clearly a fail. So today we are gonna be talking about ants, and I'll put a picture here instead. So ants belong to the order Hymenoptera, I think that's how you pronounce it, which other insects like bees and wasps also belong to, so ants, bees, and wasps are all related. You would have seen that. You would have known already had the encyclopedia page actually been able to show on the computer screen, but it's okay, I guess. So, ants are eusocial insects, which means that they exist in colonies and they're very highly organized colonial organisms. Ants do cooperative brood care, which means that the colony as a whole takes care of the larvae until they hatch. And then there's also generational overlap in colonies where the children will then raise the next generation. So the kids are raising the siblings, basically. And within ant colonies, there's also a very rigid division of labor. So majority of the ant colony is composed of sterile worker ants, which typically do the defense, the foraging. They maintain the colony completely, the nest completely, and they also take care of the queen. And the queen is a reproductive queen, so she's the only ant in the nest that is able to have eggs or lay eggs, and that's essentially all she does. Like, that's literally all her job is. And ants in general just essentially function like a superorganism. They're not really concerned with their individual goals as insects. They're more concerned with like the collective, like how they can work together to achieve a common goal or something that they need to, find food together or defend the nest together. So yeah, ants essentially function as a superorganism. And ants are the most successful insect in the entire planet. They're literally all over the world. They're very highly adaptable, and they're just very ecologically present. Not even just insects. The ants are the largest population of animal in the entire world. It beats humans, beats other insects, beats any species of animal in the world. There's I think the population of ants is 20 quadrillion. And when I was looking at that, I was like, damn, that's a lot of zeros, bro. I wish my bank account had that many zeros. Only that I don't, because I hate capitalism. Okay. I'm just so impressed with myself for being able to find new ways to make myself cringe every day. So ant colonies consist of 3 different castes. You have the queen, the worker, and then the drones, which are the males. And there's also a secret last one, but okay, we'll get into that after. The first one we're going to start off with is the queen, and I already kind of mentioned this before, but she is the only fertile ant of the nest. They have wings just like the drones, the male ants, during their nuptial season, and then once they're done mating, they lose their wings, and then they go on to start a ant colony of their own. And queen ants can be alive for a few years to a few decades, so ant colonies can be around for a long time. Some colonies will have just one queen, others will have a few. It just really depends on the species of ant. So next, we're going to move on to the worker ants. So, little fun fact, all the ants you see outside, they're all females. All the worker ants are all females. The only males that there are the drone ants, and all they really do is just chill inside the nest until it's nuptial season, or until it's time for their nuptial flight. So yeah, all the ants you see outside are girls, because girls rule the world. Species have just one type of worker ants. Others will have minor and major worker ants. Minors are typically like the smaller worker ants, and then majors are the soldier ants. And I'll maybe put a picture there. They get pretty big. And then we have the males, the drones. So essentially, they're just male ants that chill in the ant colony. They have wings, and they basically are just there until it's mating season, and then they get up out of there to find themselves some ladies. But they don't do anything for the nest. They basically just chill in the nest and do nothing. Their main purpose is to literally just mate with a queen ant so that she can establish a new colony, and then the males really just die shortly after mating. So what a life to live. Just crashed.
Flashback.
I just hate this laptop. I really just hate this laptop so much. It's cursed. This laptop is cursed. That's all I have to say.
End of flashback.
So, yeah, let's get on to the last secret part of the colony I was talking about before. They're called the elates, and they don't really play like a big role in the colony. They're literally just the virgin queens that emerge, the ones that go on to mate during their nuptial flight and then become queens of their own colonies. These elates are mass-produced by colonies. It can be from anywhere from 100 to 1,000 elates that leave the colony in a given nuptial season, which is typically between early spring or late spring and early fall. But yeah, they don't really play much of a role in like existing colonies. Their main role is to leave the colony and then go and mate and then create a colony of their own. So now we're going to talk about cool ant species that I like, if you don't mind, if you guys even care. The first ant species that we have over here are honeypot ants. So honeypot ants have a specialized type of worker ant called a replete. So these repletes essentially just eat a lot of food until their abdomen stretches really far. It's typically honey, that's why they're called honeypot ants. But they'll eat a lot of honey until their abdomens get really stretched out, and then they'll return back to the colony, and they'll hang from the ceiling, and they essentially function as like food dispensers. They'll feed honey to the other ants in the colony. They'll literally just hang from the ceiling, and all they do is just chill there and give food to the other worker ants. And I don't know, something about that, like, it's a little bit weird, but also very, like, intriguing that they just, like, expand themselves like that. And then, yeah, anyways. The next one we're going to talk about is the trapjaw ant. And these ants have the fastest moving appendages in the entirety of the animal kingdom. Their mandibles are able to snap shut at speeds up to 120 kilometers per hour. And it essentially works by, they have little hairs on their appendages, and whenever one of them is touched, their appendages, or their mandibles, their jaw, basically snap shut like that, and they're able to use that as a way to catch food, to fight off enemies. Yeah, I don't know. It's really sick. And last but not least, we have the common black ant, or the garden ant. This one is my favorite ant. And I know you guys are thinking, like, why is such a normal ant your favorite? And I guess, like, the reason why is because they're so normal. They're like the ants that are found in your homes most of the time, out living in your garden. They're very attracted to the food that humans like to eat, like sugars and stuff like that. So they're always around human houses trying to scavenge for food, and I guess that's why I kind of have a fondness for them. Like, I just always see them in my house. I even saw one earlier today and I took a video of it. I'll put it somewhere in the video, but yeah, these guys are just my favorite ants. What?
Shut.
So when you look at an ant, it might not seem like much is going on up in there. It seems like they just like are wandering around aimlessly, but they actually are not. They strategically, like, alternate between left and right turns every time they move 3 times their body, I think. So they strategically do, like, a zigzag pattern in order to cover as much ground as possible, and not cross a path that they've already been on, in order to search for food more effectively. They also use pheromone trails, which I think is one of the most interesting things about them. When a worker ant finds food, they will leave a trail heading back to the colony, and the other ants will then be able to follow that trail to the food in order to maximize the amount of food that they can all gather. Ants also use pheromone trails in order to warn their colony of potential dangers, to be able to communicate when there's a group task that needs to be done by all the ants, or even be able to tell which ant is from their colony, as other colonies will have other distinct pheromone trails. Ants also have built-in odometers, which are it's basically like a built-in step counter, and with this they're able to tell how far they've traveled from the nest, to be able to find their way back once they're ready to return, which I think is pretty cool. Some ants can even form a bridge over water, specifically fire ants. They can form bridges over water by locking their mandibles together, and because their exoskeleton is so hydrophobic, they don't drown. And they're able to do this in order to help the other worker ants like climb over them, in order to do things like retrieve food, maybe if there's flooding to help the other ants get to another area. And so yeah, they basically create like a living bridge, and they don't drown because they have like little hairs on their bodies, and these hairs collect oxygen, which help them float and also help them breathe under the water, which I don't know, that's really crazy. Like so you guys starting to think the ants are cool or what? Because if so, the next section is gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow you out of the water. So ants in general have the biggest brain-to-body ratio of any insect that there is. And some species of ant in particular, it is called the Brachymyrmex genus. Sorry, I don't know how to fucking pronounce that, guys, okay? Yes, that species of ant has the biggest brain-to-body ratio of any animal on the planet. I think it takes up about 15% of their body weight. But yeah, ants in general, they have 250,000 neurons, so they are quite intelligent. So yeah, ants are very intelligent, but they're more so intelligent in a hive mind kind of capacity. Ants on their own, they're not really all that special when it comes to insect intelligence, but what makes them so interesting is the swarm intelligence that they have. So when ants work together in large groups, they can even outperform humans when it comes to different logistical puzzles or spatial puzzles. So I guess that's what makes them so interesting. Even on their own, at an individual level, ants are not really that smart, but what... Yes, they're highly intelligent when they work in bigger swarms, not so much on an individual level. And last but not least, this is the most interesting thing that I've researched. There's a specific type of ant called the Myrmica ant, and they've actually been shown to pass the mirror test. What scientists did is they put a blue little dot on these ants, and when they presented a mirror to these ants tried to clean or wipe the blue spot off of their head, meaning that they were able to look in the mirror and understand that it was them and that blue dot was on them and they needed to clean it off. Which could show that they have some level of self-awareness. I don't know. I'm just the messenger. But anyways, I made this video and I was like, you know what, it's gonna be a video on ants, it's not gonna be as long as my other ones, and I think it's actually even longer. The script was even longer, the video is probably gonna be even longer, and I'm actually just like thinking about how long it's gonna take me to edit it. But yeah, here's a video of an ant I found earlier. Guys, I literally just found an ant in my room. I think I have a black ant colony, like a garden ant colony, just living in my walls. So even though it's wintertime here, they're just always in my house. But I thought this would be just like a cool little little clip to add in here of this ant. I don't want to torment it for so long, but they're so fast. Anyways, yeah.